I was betrayed during a business trip. I thought about revenge, but I found something much bigger. My wife, Hannah, and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We met through friends, clicked instantly, and I thought, hell, I knew she was my person. We were that couple others said made them believe in love again. The inside jokes, the stupid made-up songs we'd sing doing chores, the way she always reached for my hand under the dinner table like clockwork. Things weren't perfect, of course. But what relationship is? There were subtle cracks, ones I chalked up to stress or routine. She started wearing makeup to run quick errands. Got defensive when I asked who she was texting. Claimed I was insecure and that it was just work stuff. I felt stupid for even asking. Looking back now, the first big red flag came about a month before my business trip. I caught her giggling at her phone late one night. When I asked what was so funny, she locked the screen and told me it was a meme from her cousin. But I know her cousin, no sense of humor. I let it go. I didn't want to be that guy. Anyway, I had this 5-day business trip lined up. First time in over a year that I'd be traveling again. She acted supportive at first, packed my bag, even tucked a little note inside saying, "Miss you already, love you more." Cute, right? Day 2 of the trip, I noticed she'd gone a little quiet. Fewer texts. Short replies. Busy, sorry, heart became the norm. Something about her tone just didn't sit right. You know how sometimes your gut whispers to you and you try to drown it out with logic? Yeah. My gut was screaming and I still told it to shut up. That night, I called her while pacing my hotel room. She didn't pick up. Texted me 2 hours later saying she'd fallen asleep watching Netflix. Again, not unbelievable, but it felt off. The moment everything changed? It was day 4. I had just wrapped up a long session with a client, brain fried, phone on airplane mode. When I finally turned it back on, I had 2 missed calls from an unknown number and a string of texts from a number I didn't recognize. Hey man, you don't know me but you should. I didn't know she was married when this started. I'm sorry. I think you deserve to know. Attached, a photo. It was her. My wife. Sitting in a dimly lit restaurant, holding hands across the table with some guy I'd never seen before. Their fingers intertwined. Her face was glowing. That smile, the one I used to get, was aimed at someone else. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My knees gave out and I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the screen like it might change if I blinked enough. I didn't respond right away. I didn't scream or throw things. I didn't even cry. I went numb. Utter, suffocating numbness. The next message came 5 minutes later. She told me you two were separating. I didn't know until I saw your photo in your house. That's when I ended it. He ended it. Like it was his call to make. I don't even know how he got my number. Probably off some bill lying around her place. I found out later he had actually shown up at our house the day after I left, expecting a night together, and found our wedding photo still up in the hallway. That's when he realized. He said he felt sick to his stomach. Good. Welcome to the club. That night I sat in the hotel bathtub, fully clothed, water running over me, letting it all sink in. The betrayal. The lies. The fact that she had smiled at me, kissed me goodbye, and told me she loved me while screwing someone else on the side. I won't lie. My first thought was revenge. I imagined crashing her world the way she crashed mine. Exposing her to friends and family. Burning it all down. She deserved to suffer. She deserved to bleed. But that's not where the story ends. Because what I found next shifted everything. After that night in the hotel bathroom, I barely slept. My mind kept spiraling, replaying everything with new, sinister meaning. That work dinner 2 weeks ago? Was it him? The lingerie she suddenly bought for me? Was it for him? I couldn't even look in the mirror the next morning. I looked hollow, like something had been scooped out of me. But here's the part that still messes me up. I almost didn't confront her. I almost let it go. I told myself maybe it was a one-time thing, a mistake, that confronting it would mean tearing our life apart. And I wasn't ready for that. But the next thing that happened changed everything. Still stuck in the hotel room, I decided to call the number, the guy who sent me the photo. Let's call him Brandon. He answered immediately. His voice was nervous, almost apologetic. He said, "Look, man, I'm sorry. I wouldn't have reached out if I'd known you were her husband. I thought she was single. Hell, she told me you two were splitting and that you moved out." I just listened, numb, letting him talk. He said they'd been seeing each other for nearly 2 months. She told him not to post any pictures of them online because she didn't want drama with the divorce. She even made up a fake name for me, said I was controlling and manipulative. That one hurt. I've never raised my voice at her, never laid a hand on her, never even told her who she could or couldn't see. I bent over backwards to be a good husband. And she painted me like some monster just to get sympathy and keep her affair tidy. He said he ended it the moment he found the wedding photo. Told her she needed to be honest with me. That was 3 days ago. She didn't say a word. So I made a plan. I flew back a day early. Didn't tell her. I needed to catch her off guard. I didn't want her to have time to twist the narrative or prep her fake tears. When I got home, everything looked normal. Her car was in the driveway. The house smelled like lavender and candles, her usual touch. She was in the kitchen, pouring wine. The second she saw me, she jumped. "Babe, you're back early." Her voice had that fake sweetness, like syrup over a poison pill. "Yeah," I said. "Got finished early." I watched her carefully. Her eyes darted to her phone on the counter. She quickly turned it over. "So, how was the trip?" she asked. I just stared at her. "You want to tell me about Brandon?" Her face drained of color. She didn't say a word for a full 10 seconds. Then, like she'd practiced it 100 times, she said, "It's not what you think." "Not what I think." Classic. I showed her the photo. Her mouth tightened. She didn't deny it. She didn't cry. Instead, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you're going to make this a thing, maybe we shouldn't even do this anymore." That's when it hit me. She didn't care. Not really. She got caught, and her first move wasn't apology, it was self-preservation. I felt something snap inside me. Not anger, not heartbreak, just clarity. "You're right," I said. "We shouldn't." I walked past her, up to the bedroom, and started packing a bag. She followed me up, still calm, still in damage control mode. "Don't be dramatic," she said. "It didn't mean anything. You're really going to throw away our marriage over this?" I turned to her and said, "No, I'm throwing it away because you already did." I left. Took that bag and drove to my brother's place 2 towns over. Told him everything. He handed me a beer and said, "You don't need her." "You never did." That night, while scrolling through my messages, I noticed something weird. A random name in our shared phone plan, the 5th line we paid for, her work tablet. Except, it wasn't a tablet. It was another phone. Hidden. New. Under her name. I drove back the next day while she was at work and found it stuffed in a shoebox in the closet. No password. She must have been too cocky, too lazy, or just didn't expect me to look. I opened the phone. And what I found? That wasn't just a fling. It was a whole second life. Multiple conversations with other men. Different names she used. Nudes. Voicemails. Plans for hotel meetups, vacation spots, even one convo where she talked about moving out and starting over with someone named Nate. Brandon was just the tip of the iceberg. She had at least 4 other guys on rotation. My knees gave out. I sat there on the floor of our bedroom, the bedroom we picked out together, painted together, made love in, and I just shook. It wasn't betrayal anymore. It was annihilation. But right there, surrounded by lies and filth and betrayal, something strange happened. For the first time in weeks, I felt calm. Because I finally saw the truth. She wasn't who I thought she was. And I wasn't going to spend one more second being the guy who stayed. So there I was, sitting on the floor of the bedroom we shared for 5 years, her secret phone glowing in my hand, filled with proof that my wife wasn't just cheating, she was living a double life. I don't know how long I sat there. An hour? 2? All I remember is the weight. The absolute heaviness of it. Like grief, shame, and rage all fused together and sat on my chest like a goddamn cinder block. The messages were worse than I could have imagined. One guy, Nate, the one she apparently wanted to start over with, had pet names for her. My lioness. I almost laughed. She told him she was trapped in a loveless marriage and that I never touched her anymore. That one stung. Because I had. Not just physically, but emotionally. I showed up. I cared. One thread had them planning a trip to San Diego the same weekend she claimed she was going to visit her sister. And guess what? She even used me to help book the flight, asked me to use my credit card, and said she'd pay me back. I paid for her getaway to cheat on me. I think that's the part that broke me for real. When she got home that evening, I was gone. Again. Only this time, I left the secret phone sitting on the kitchen table with a sticky note. "You dropped this mask." I also took photos of every message, every contact, every screenshot I could. I backed it up. I wasn't just angry, I was preparing for war. Or so I thought. But that night, something shifted. I drove aimlessly. Ended up sleeping in my car in a Walmart parking lot. Somewhere around 2 a.m. I sat up and said aloud, "What the hell am I doing? This wasn't me." The scheming, the fantasizing about how to ruin her reputation, expose her to family and friends, make her suffer the way I did, that wasn't who I wanted to be. She took enough from me already. I wasn't going to let her take my peace too. The next morning, I went to see my cousin Evan. He's like a brother to me, except he's been through worse. His wife of 10 years left him and took their kids across the country. He spiraled for a while, then got clean, then built himself back up. He told me something I'll never forget. You can spend years trying to make someone pay, but all you're doing is dragging your soul through their mud. I needed that. I needed him. So I made a new plan. Not one based on revenge, but on clarity. Step 1, lawyer up. I found a local attorney who specialized in divorce and showed him everything. I told him I didn't want to burn her life down, I just wanted out fast, clean, no bullshit. We talked for an hour. He said, "You're doing better than most guys who walk in here. You already know what you want." Step 2, move out on my own terms. I rented a small furnished apartment across town. Just a one-bedroom, but it had clean walls and no memories in it. I didn't tell her where I was. I didn't even respond to her texts, which, by the way, were coming in nonstop. At first it was, "Where are you? Can we talk? This is all a misunderstanding." Then it became, "You've always been so dramatic. You're blowing this out of proportion. Are you really going to throw away everything over a few messages?" And finally, the desperate ones. "Please. I need you. You're the only real thing I've ever had." Funny how that works. She built a tower of lies and now wanted me to be the foundation holding it up. I didn't respond. Instead, I focused on rebuilding. I started going back to the gym. Started eating better. I slept like crap for the first few nights, sure, but for the first time in months, I didn't feel like I was sleeping beside a loaded gun. I also started journaling. Writing things down, not for Reddit but for me. I wrote about the good times too, not just the pain. Because I didn't want to forget it all. I wanted to honor the version of me who believed in her. Who tried. That guy deserved a eulogy. 3 weeks after I left, she showed up at my job. Just walked into the lobby like nothing had happened. My coworker buzzed my office and I told her to send her away. 10 minutes later, I got a text. "Wow. So this is who you are now." And yeah, it was. This was who I was now. The man who finally stopped choosing someone who would never choose him back. What I didn't know then, and what I'll get into next, is that I hadn't yet uncovered the biggest lie. Because just when I thought I was on the path to healing, I found out something that made the rest of it feel small. She had betrayed me in a way so complete. I almost didn't survive it. So I thought I was through the worst. I had moved out, lawyered up, gone full no contact except for emails through my attorney. I had a place of my own, a decent mattress, a damn coffee machine I actually liked. I wasn't healed, but I was starting to feel like myself again. Until the letter arrived. It came in a plain white envelope, no return address. Just my name typed, no handwriting. Inside was a single printed page, no signature, no greeting, nothing. Just this. "You think Brandon was the only one? Ask her about the work retreats in Atlanta. Ask her about the married guy in finance. Ask her what really happened in August 2022 when she lost her phone for a weekend. You don't know half of it." There was no name at the bottom. Just a screenshot of an old calendar invite. Team Strategy Summit, Atlanta, dated 6 months prior, with a hotel reservation attached. I stared at the letter for an hour. Not because it surprised me, hell, by now I expected nothing less from her, but because it came from someone else. Which meant someone out there knew more than I did. Someone had seen what I hadn't. And worse, they felt like I needed to know. I sent the screenshot to my lawyer and asked if we could subpoena her travel records. He said that unless I was pursuing fault-based divorce, which our state doesn't require, it might not matter. But I needed to know. Not for the court, for me. So I did something reckless. I called her. I used *67 to block my number and waited. When she answered, she sounded surprised but smug. Like she'd been waiting for this moment. "Didn't expect you to cave so soon," she said. "I didn't cave," I replied. "I just have a question." "Okay. Atlanta. Strategy Summit. Did you sleep with someone else?" She was quiet. Then she laughed like I was the idiot here. "Seriously? That's what brought you back? A stupid letter. So it's true." Another pause. "Why do you care? You already left." And that's when it hit me, she really didn't get it. Not the pain, not the betrayal, not the weight of every lie that kept piling up. I hung up. The next day, I got a message request on Instagram. A woman I didn't know. "Hey, I'm sorry to message you out of the blue. I was one of the women your wife's ex was cheating with, Brandon. He told me about you after he ended it with her. She said you were dangerous and emotionally abusive. I didn't believe it, but when he showed me a photo of you two and said he'd ended it, I started digging. I just thought you deserved to know she was doing this to multiple people. You're not the first husband she's lied about." I asked her if she knew who sent the letter. She didn't. But she told me something else. Apparently my wife had a pattern. Multiple men. Multiple lies? She would make up a fake name for me. Say I was violent, unstable, a drunk. Use the sympathy to get what she wanted. And when things got too close, she'd ghost. Or cry. Or blame me. She told a guy I hit her. She told another that I spied on her through her Wi-Fi. One guy apparently Googled me after things didn't add up and saw my LinkedIn and old wedding photos and realized she was still married. Every time she got caught, she moved on like nothing happened. It felt like I was married to a stranger. Worse than that, a predator. And I hated myself for not seeing it. All those nights I defended her when my friends said she seemed cold or off. The time my sister asked if we were really okay and I told her to stop being dramatic. I defended a ghost. A walking manipulation machine in a beautiful package. I thought about revenge again. Exposing everything. Posting it online. Sending screenshots to her family. But then I remembered something Evan told me weeks ago. The opposite of love isn't hate. It's indifference. And that's what I started chasing. Not forgiveness. Not fury. Freedom. I doubled down on the divorce. I gave up the house, the couch, the TV. I just wanted out. I told my lawyer to give her whatever she wanted within reason. Let her win the material stuff. I didn't care. Because I finally saw the prize. My peace. My life. My future. Not hers. And then the twist I didn't see coming. 2 weeks later, my sister called me in a panic. Turn on the news, she said. Local channel. 5 o'clock. My wife's workplace. Police. A fraud investigation. Multiple employees implicated. Allegations of embezzlement. She was one of the names. No charges filed yet, but under internal review. Turns out while I was building a life with her, she was building a house of cards at work too. It wasn't just me she betrayed. She lied to everyone. So now not only was I the ex-husband of a serial cheater, I was the soon-to-be ex-husband of a woman being investigated for fraud. I watched her face flash across the evening news like it belonged to someone else. Hair in a bun. Sunglasses hiding half her face. Walking into the building while reporters shouted questions. I'd seen that walk 100 times. The way she moved like she was above everything. Like the world was just one big chessboard she controlled. The news anchor read from the teleprompter like it was any other day. 3 employees from the regional finance office are under internal review for potential financial misconduct, involving travel reimbursements, vendor kickbacks, and falsified expense reports. And there she was. Hannah, name and all. The woman I almost bought a house with. The one I had planned to start a family with. Now the world was about to find out what I'd only started to scratch the surface of. My first thought wasn't, I'm glad she's getting what she deserves. It was, holy shit, how deep does this go? I called my lawyer the next morning and asked if this affected the divorce proceedings. He said it might. If she was charged and found guilty, it could impact spousal support. But I didn't want her money. I wanted her gone. But the investigation gave me leverage. My lawyer suggested we push for an immediate mediation. That way, she'd be desperate to settle before things got worse. And she was. 3 days later, she finally broke no contact. Through her lawyer. Suddenly she wanted to make things right, avoid any further pain, and cooperate fully. It was the fastest she'd responded to anything since the split. Funny how real consequences can sober people up. Mediation was surreal. We met in a sterile conference room, masks on, lawyers flanking us like pit bulls. She looked tired, thin, like the lies had finally caught up to her face. No makeup, no practiced charm. Just hollow. She didn't speak to me directly. Not once. But her lawyer laid it all out. She'd agree to waive spousal support. I'd take the furniture, my car, the savings account. She'd take the house, the dog, which, yeah, still hurts, and her own car. Everything split down the middle otherwise. We'd be legally done in 30 days if I signed. I stared at her for a moment. She wouldn't look at me. I leaned in and said quietly, "You remember who you used to be?" She blinked, finally looked up, and I swear to God, for a split second I saw a flicker of something. Shame? Regret? Exhaustion? I don't know. She opened her mouth like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out, just a breath. Then she nodded once and looked back down. I signed the papers. Walking out of that building felt like shedding a skin I didn't know I was still wearing. My phone buzzed with texts from Evan, my sister, coworkers, all checking in. But I didn't answer any of them. I drove straight to the ocean, kicked off my shoes, and walked into the water until my jeans were soaked. Not because I was trying to be dramatic, because I needed to feel something clean. Over the next few weeks, things began to settle. The story about the fraud at her company quietly faded from the news cycle, probably because her employer didn't want the bad press. I heard through the grapevine that she was put on administrative leave but never charged. She's still under some kind of review, but knowing her, she'll spin it and come out the victim. I don't care, because here's what I found in all this, the something bigger I mentioned in the title. Dignity, silence, control. Not over her, but over me. For the first time in years, my life belongs to me. I don't flinch when my phone lights up. I don't make excuses for someone else's behavior. I don't walk on eggshells waiting for the next emotional landmine. I have boundaries now. I have peace. There was one final twist, though. A few weeks ago, I got a message request from an unknown Instagram account. It was her. She wrote, "I know I'm the villain in your story. I probably deserve that. But I need you to know Brandon wasn't the first, but he was the last. I didn't think you'd ever really leave. When you did, something in me broke. I hope you're okay." I stared at the message for a long time. I thought about responding, thought about letting her have the last word, or asking why she needed to say any of that now. But I didn't answer. I just deleted the message and blocked the account.